Hey everyone, I sure hope you're doing well. I'm gonna spill some long-awaited tea today. As much as it is very exciting making announcements for you guys and letting you in on these little secrets of my life, it's also totally nerve-wracking and I get really worked up about it because, this is my real life, right? This is what I'm really going through right now. This is actually my story. So let's just get into it. Why do I look so pasty? Super white and pasty. Huh. It's the middle of August right now, you guys, and you may recall that a few months ago at the beginning of May, I had a really exciting birthday weekend. It was days in a row of just excitement, and I kinda never really told you about the most exciting part. Let's go day by day. Friday, May 7th, the day that I launched my Patreon. That was one of the most exciting days ever. I was so overwhelmed by the support that you guys showed. Frankly, I just absolutely couldn't believe it. Actually, the day before that, Thursday, May 6th, I got a text from my brother that he wanted to come visit. But you see, it takes 2 days to drive from where I used to live to where I live right now. So when he told me on Thursday that he wanted to come, he left Friday and he arrived on Saturday. So on Saturday afternoon, my brother got here, Saturday, May 8th. Another super exciting day. Sunday, May 9th was my very first Mother's Day. Well, I personally count it as my second because we had already had our miscarriage last year. In my eyes, carrying a child, and even though she was born still, I was still a mother that Mother's Day. And I was pregnant that Mother's Day. So to me, last year was my first Mother's Day. But this year was my first Mother's Day with a baby Earthside that I could clearly celebrate with. That was Sunday, May 9th. Monday, May 10th was my 30th birthday. Holy cow. 30th birthday, and my brother was here, so I got to celebrate with my brother, and it was awesome. Now for the part that I didn't tell you. Tuesday morning, May 11th. I found out that I'm pregnant. Yep, I'm expecting. And now it's August 18th, so I am really expecting. I am 18 weeks along, and I already look like I ate a watermelon. How beautiful is that? This pregnancy was quite a surprise. Definitely not an accident, but definitely a surprise. Our first was only 4 months old when I found out that I was pregnant. So we're going to be having Irish twins, depending on your definition. The kids will be 13 months apart. We're gonna have our hands full. I have so much I want to tell you about this story. Let me pull up my Ava bracelet data and just make sure that I have my timeline right here before I tell you a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense. Part of the problem that happened with, I don't want to even call it a problem because we're so excited about it, but part of what went wrong here and created this surprise is that I had a very strange cycle, and that can totally happen when you're breastfeeding. In the immediate postpartum period, you're not really on regular cycles. So let's see. How do I get to my calendar? I had the baby at the end of December, and then my period came back at the beginning of March. Usually you get your period, and then 2 weeks later you ovulate, and then 2 weeks after that is when your period is due, or you are eligible to take a pregnancy test if there's a chance that you're pregnant. What happened with me is I had my period the very beginning of March. You guys know that I use my Ava bracelet to track my temperatures, so I started my Ava bracelet, but it takes a few months for it to learn your cycles. So the bracelet didn't quite know me yet, and also I didn't have regular cycles yet. I gotta sneeze. Ow. I'm in a lot of pain today. Allergies. A couple weeks after I got that period, I did have a confirmed ovulation on my bracelet, but then 3 weeks after that, I still had not gotten my period. And I was like, where the heck is my period? Am I pregnant? And at that point, I was like a week over when my period was due. So if I had gotten pregnant, it definitely would have been positive by then. So I took a test and it was negative. And I was like, okay, I'm in that postpartum, things can be weird thing, breastfeeding, whatever, right? Another week passes, still no period. Took another test, still not positive. I'm like, okay, we're just doing this for a little while. That's totally fine. And then on Monday, May 10th was my very first live chat on Discord with my patrons, and I had another one the following morning on Tuesday, May 11th. That morning, we happened to be talking about nausea. I had been dealing with increased nausea ever since my flat test. Now, my flat test happened before I was pregnant. That was like a month before any pregnancy symptoms could have even come up. So I'm having all this increased nausea. I planned out that whole nausea video and I posted that. Still not nausea from pregnancy. And so on that live chat, we were just talking about nausea. One of my patrons says that she's 8 months pregnant. But we're talking about nausea and I was like, yeah, blah, 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 but I'm definitely not pregnant. And then I was like, ding, I'm pregnant. There's some light bulb that went off. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm pregnant. Now, mind you, I've had negative pregnancy tests every week for the past couple of weeks. I'm like 3 weeks past when my period is due. There's like no way in heck, right? But I left in the middle of this live chat on Discord and went and peed on a stick and I was like, holy cow, it was positive. I'm pregnant. First thing I did was go back into my Ava app and look back and like, how could this happen? When could this happen? Like, what the heck? The only thing I can reckon is that I had a double ovulation cycle, which has happened to me in the past, and that is what happened here. I had my period, I had an ovulation, I had another ovulation, the one that conceived, and then my period never came because now I'm pregnant. When you take a pregnancy test and you're like on a regular cycle and you know when you can test, you kind of expect a faint line when it's around your missed period, and then the line gets darker as your pregnancy progresses. Now, my line on this pregnancy test was light. It was a light line. And so I assumed that I was going through a miscarriage. I thought that this was maybe a chemical pregnancy. Since it had been 2 months, 2.5 months or something like that since I had a period, I don't know. I just didn't think there was any way that it could be a viable pregnancy. So I was really hesitant to get excited and to, be stoked that this could happen. In addition, there is a high risk of miscarriage in the first trimester, especially in those first couple of weeks after you find out you're pregnant, before there's a confirmed heartbeat. And I have miscarried before, so I know how real that sudden oof is. So I was like, okay, don't get attached. Obviously, I needed to go tell my husband, right? So I finished up the live chat on Discord and then frantically went downstairs to let my husband know that we're expecting. With our last baby, I was just so excited to be pregnant again that I just wanted to tell my husband. I went and told him and I was like super stoked and I just told him. So for this pregnancy, for my next pregnancy, I assumed it would be very planned. So I wanted to make a surprise for him and write a card or do something cute. But no, that's not how this happened. I was so in shock, I didn't even know what to say. I went downstairs to our dining room. You're not going to believe this. My husband was in the backyard on a tractor. And so I started knocking on the window. And he looked at me like, what? And I was like, come here. And he's like, oh, okay. He walks over to the window. I held up the pregnancy test. He does a little squintaroo. And I was like, and he was like, how are you feeling? Are you okay? And I was like, I'm okay. It's gonna be okay. But in my head, you know what I was afraid of? Childbirth. I tore pretty badly, and this was less than 5 months after that. I was like, I am not ready to birth another child. I'm still sore. But it is what it is. So the whole rest of the day, I was just freaking out about childbirth. I'm not ready for childbirth. I'm too tired for childbirth. That's what was on my mind. And also, again, I thought that we were not going to be keeping this baby. Not that I was going to electively do anything, but like I thought that the baby was on its way out just because of that faint line and the timing with my periods. Next day, pregnancy line gets so much darker on that test. I mean, even that afternoon, the line got darker. I'm telling you, my HCG levels were like flying through the roof. And I was like, oh my gosh, this pregnancy is stable. Like, this feels good. I feel good. I feel pregnant. I feel ready for it. And then the second day, what was on my mind wasn't childbirth anymore. I was like, I can do it. What hit me that day was, oh my gosh, I'm going to have 2 babies. 2 babies crawling around in here. There's just going to be 2 babies. There's so many babies. So that was the second day. By the third day, nothing but excitement. And ever since that third day, nothing but excitement. Definitely took me a couple of days for like this news to sink in and everything. But it was always just so riddled with excitement, riddled with like this feeling of being so blessed that this life came. I just can't, I can't. I'm freaking thrilled. I know how fortunate I am to have this baby and carry this baby, and I just, guys, I'm having a baby. We did do the sneak peek early gender test, so between 8 and 9 weeks, we found out whether the baby was a boy or a girl. At the end of the first trimester, which I think was in July, we told my patrons that we were expecting a baby. And then we told them this past week what the gender is going to be, some of them. My plan was to let you know on YouTube about this pregnancy once I knew that everything was stable and everything was okay. With my previous pregnancy, I had some early bleeding and cramping and some scare stuff happen sort of near the end of the first trimester. And when that happened, I got an ultrasound scan and we were able to see that the baby, the one who's born now, was kicking and doing great. And then I made it to the end of the first trimester, so we decided to announce at that point. With this baby, I've been getting heartbeat confirmations every month, but we haven't had any ultrasounds yet. I tend to be really hands-off with pretty much everything health-wise unless I need to be more hands-on. So this baby's just been kind of chilling out in there, but this past week, I've been feeling them wiggle and kick, and so I feel really comfortable going ahead and announcing now because I can tell that baby's healthy in there. My 20-week anatomy scan will be in 2 weeks. If you want to know what to expect from the results of that, I'll go ahead and put a card here for the 20-week anatomy scan for our last baby. I'm super out of breath from this pot stuff, guys. I'm sorry. In that video, you can also see like the 3D ultrasound pictures that we got of that baby before she was born. Hopefully we'll get that again for this baby, and I bet they're gonna look probably identical. I remember with my niece and nephew, the 3D ultrasound pictures looked identical for them. So yeah, I'm excited for that. That is at the end of the month. Anything else I wanted to add on that? I don't think so. So after that 20-week anatomy scan, I'll go ahead and show you guys some ultrasound pictures, and then within a few weeks or a month or 2 after that, I'll definitely tell you guys the gender. That will be before the baby's born. Oh, I wish I could breathe. Earlier today, I was reminded that Migraine Jen sometimes calls us a pumpkin cup, and now I'm kind of like on a pumpkin cup kick. Okay. I have a couple of things to tell you about how the pregnancy has impacted my whole diagnosis thing. I cannot wait to tell you about this part. I'm gonna scoot over. You guys remember that after the flat test, which was mid-April, that doctor ordered the full spine MRI. Well, there were delays with the referral process, and by the time the referral process finished, I'd found out I was pregnant. The doctor does not recommend doing a full spine MRI in the first trimester, so we decided at that point to go ahead and delay the MRI until the end of the first trimester. And it was that delay that gave her the time to change her mind about whether or not she wanted the full spine MRI. This is one of those examples of things that, like, I felt awful because I couldn't be totally honest with you guys, because I couldn't announce the pregnancy yet, because I didn't know how my body was going to respond to suddenly having this new pregnancy right after another pregnancy when I'm already very sick. Now, to put it in the words of my midwife, she said to me last pregnancy and repeated to me again this pregnancy, although I have other things wrong with other systems in my body, I am low risk when it comes to pregnancy. pregnancy-wise, everything goes exactly by the books for me. I get symptoms by the week when I'm supposed to. The pregnancy, at least in the second and third trimesters, actually tends to help my symptoms. So, like, in terms of that, I'm healthy and I'm safe. It's just, has my body completely been able to replenish itself after the last pregnancy? And you guys might think I'm nuts, but I do trust my body. I trust my body to not take on something that it doesn't think that it can take on. I truly feel like this is my calling. This is my superpower. This is the thing that I was not put on earth to do, but this is something that's just innate in me. And I wholeheartedly trust my womb to make its own judgments. I think that's because of the miscarriage. I think that was my coping mechanism for the miscarriage, was to just wholeheartedly trust that that was what needed to happen. And I trust that my body would have done that again if something was wrong either with the baby or with myself. But so far, this has been a perfect, healthy pregnancy, and it has been progressing exactly the same way as my previous pregnancy did. So let's talk really quickly about my symptoms. Remember that sick week video where I was like, guys, I feel like I got hit by a bus? Yeah, that was week 6. That was the week that all of my pregnancy symptoms just attacked. The previous time I got pregnant was when I uploaded my neurocardiogenic syncope video. I kept trying to film and I just kept fainting. First trimester is very difficult on many women. It makes many women dizzy and lightheaded, and if you're already a woman who is dizzy and lightheaded, getting further dizzy and lightheaded is just going to make you faint. So first trimester was awful. I was very nauseous. I had already been nauseous ever since my flat test. I've said that a million times. So it wasn't even just morning sickness. It became morning sickness on top of whatever the flat test already screwed up. So that's why that was so much to deal with. And that's why I wasn't able to put out a video that week. Now you know. And actually, in general, for the next 2 months after that, you may be able to tell my videos just weren't quite up to par compared to my other videos. I wasn't doing keyword research. I wasn't doing good descriptions. I wasn't doing a lot of finishing touches. I was last minute on a lot of stuff. That's all just due to feeling really sick from being pregnant. About a month ago when I hit the second trimester, I started nesting. It's been wonderful ever since I started nesting. Things are going a lot better. So I'm excited for whatever's to come next. I'm excited to see this baby's face, make sure all the limbs are there and all that. But yeah, now you know. The other thing is, you guys know I have this new team of doctors. We're trying new treatments and stuff. Unfortunately, this pregnancy is getting in the way of some of the treatment options that would be available to me otherwise. So even though I have a good diagnosis now, a new diagnosis, Oh, YouTube, I didn't tell you that. I do have a new diagnosis. It's up on Patreon. I'll tell you guys later when things are a little bit more, solidified and a little bit more, stable, I guess is a good way to put it. Basically, I'm going through a treatment protocol for this new diagnosis, as best as I can while pregnant, as mellowly as I can while pregnant. But you know that anytime you start a new treatment, you have to really adjust to the side effects, and your body starts doing this kind of detox, sickness, best stuff. So that's what I'm going through right now. Am I all over the place? I guess that's exactly what you guys need to know. Yeah. I just got some crazy whooshing in my head. It sounds like I have the ocean in my head, but it's only in this quadrant. My heartbeat. My heartbeat's not that slow, ever. But you get the gist. Let's wrap this up. I'm really excited that you guys finally know about this. I am really excited to tell you guys more when the time is right and when everything comes into place. I was really nervous about letting you guys know too soon and then getting a bunch of judgment for being pregnant so fast. I'm sure I'm going to get some people saying that it's completely irresponsible for me to have kids and all that stuff, because I already got that even from having one baby. But the fact of the matter is, this is my life. This is what we're going through privately. Even though this baby was a surprise, they were absolutely not an accident. There are lots of options for not getting pregnant when you don't want to get pregnant, and most of them are 100% covered even if you don't have insurance. So we were open to this baby, and in fact, my husband and I had sort of planned that We wanted our kids closer together than what the usual couple would do, like what nowadays normal couple would do. But we were planning on holding off actively trying just because we were trying to do my diagnosis stuff first. You guys know that I'm kind of a mushy-gushy person. I believe a lot in hope and faith and just rolling with the punches and trying not to plan things out too much. So we left the option open for if there was a baby out there who needed us, here we are. And here they are. And I know that this baby was meant to be in our family, and I'm so excited to meet them. The more time has gone on, the more excited I am that they're going to be so close together in age. And I just feel like everything is falling into place as it's supposed to. We got baby A, we're gonna have baby B. We got my new diagnosis. Once the baby's born, we can be a bit more aggressive, perhaps, depending on breastfeeding and things like that. And who knows what's after that. But Lord knows I am here for it, and I am just so grateful. Last thing, over here. It's merch o'clock. I think it's long overdue that I figure out some merch for you guys. I get DMs every once in a while of things that you guys want on merch. A lot of you guys have posted comments on my videos before with like migraine gen quotes, like I've got big feels, and you say that you need it on a t-shirt. Just so you know, that kind of stuff is now in the works, so any and all recommendations or requests that you have for merch, please stick them in the comments. I want quotes, I want what products you guys would be interested in. I can come up with the things that I would like, but I want to make sure that they're things that you guys are excited about too. And I guess other than that, guys, I will see you soon. Get ready for bump pictures finally. Get over to Instagram so you can see bump stuff. There hasn't been any bump stuff yet because the secret hasn't been out, but once this video goes, game on. Love you guys, and I'm gonna stand up and not suck in my stomach now. It's awesome.